That's unfortunate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Guys, today we've got another top 10 for you. We are here with the extremely proficient and deadly Endall Beall. He has his own YouTube channel. He is part of the Gambit Alliance. He is a better player than I am. He knows all his stuff. He's got a better Wampa than me. He even has the good Zeta on him. How you doing today, Endall?
Is that glad to be on? I don't know about the better player than you, but definitely agree on the Wampa bit. My Wampa is my pride and joy.
Yeah, man, it's super fun. It's fun to see you just destroy people. I just remember it was so sad. Like when the first time we had you on the Gambit Fight Night, and
Uh,
we were all so excited because you just like destroy people with the Wampa, and you just like you got terrible RNG, and the team actually just
I know,
failed. And I was
I know,
and I was like, it's happening. Oh no.
I know. I remember it was a Night Sister team, 1000, and Plague completely destroyed my Wampa.
Yeah, yep, that's exactly what happened. So, guys, what we're talking about today, hopefully, you've actually read the video descript or the video title, or at least the thumbnail. What's going on today? We're talking about 5v5 is coming up. We have expanded divisions, and so that means we're going to have more teams that we have to place on defense, more on offense, and that doesn't mean we have to be inefficient though. Like that's not a requirement. It's not like, oh well, we're placing more teams, therefore I can just be sloppy. So Endall is really, he puts a really tough defense down, but Endall, you also do extremely well banners wise. Like you're an extremely efficient player, and so I thought it was a fantastic idea when you suggested that we talk about the top, like our top 10 non-galactic legend
Mhm.
efficiency squads on offense.
Yeah, I think this is a great topic for discussion, especially with expanded rosters for 5v5 coming up. I know it's going to be tougher to clear and tougher defenses will probably do very well. But there are so many teams out there these days that can recover so much protection and just get you full banners that it just helps to put that extra pressure on your opponent. And efficiency is way more important in 5v5 than 3v3. So, it's a very relevant topic and no better time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This is going to be fun. So, guys, we're not talking about Galactic Legends here. We're going to kind of assume you don't have them or that you're not going to be using these to counter Galactic Legends. That being said, we will kind of talk about some of the other options. Like, for instance, this Basti team. It's you can totally use it again. Like you can use most of these components actually to beat a Supreme Leader Kylo team, and it's actually a fairly efficient squad on its own. But that being said, some of these teams we're going to have to by necessity just so that we want to discuss these teams that are efficient. Not everyone's going to be facing Galactic Legends, frankly. So we like to give options to everyone. We're egalitarian like that. So that being said, that and I really like this suggestion of a team of yours. Like you sent me a bunch of teams as suggestions, and this one was absolutely awesome. Loved it immediately, especially your trademark Wampa. How does it work?
Yeah, so the Wampa loves to be in a team which can call it for assist-based teams because it generates turn meter when he attacks on his basic. And there are a couple of guys over here who can call assist. There's Jolie, there's Basti. Wampa also loves characters who can give him buffs, and Basti does exactly that. The reason this team is efficient is because it starts with bonus protection, and if you're able to chew through the enemy fast enough, then nobody really loses bonus protection. Even Wampa actually generates bonus protection with his first special. So that's what I love about this team. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really strong. One thing that And they all have bonus tenacity as well, just from either her lead, or if Wampa does his big
Yes.
hit, his AOE, then he's got extra tenacity. So it's tough
Yeah.
to debuff them. It's tough to do damage to them. So you're going to finish, if you can finish your opponent off fairly quickly, it's nice. The other thing is, though, guys, you don't necessarily need Jedi Revan. Like, he's nice there. There's no mistake. And I don't really know what he does if he doesn't have Basti or Jolie to hang out with him. But that being said, I mean, he can be replaced by a few different Jedi who honestly,
Yeah.
you're probably not going to drop too much if you add, like, what do you think? Ezra would be an okay slot for him?
Yeah, I think Ezra is perfect over here because he's another Jedi who can call assists. Ezra calling Wampa to assist and then assisting again. That's a great option to have. Ayla, another one which does really well in an assist-based team. The only reason I put Jedi Knight Revan over here is, he tends to be the fastest, and under Basti with 15% turn meter gain, he's going to go really fast off the bat. What I would like to do is pass the turn meter to Obi-Wan, who reduces everyone's turn meter, and then your whole team goes first and completely takes control of the battle. But Jedi Knight Revan is such a good character in so many other Jedi squads that you can easily replace him with any of the other Jedi's, depending on what kind of team you're going against.
Yeah, this team can be super efficient. I love the opportunity to use Wampa. So
Mm.
glad we got that one in. Now this is one of my favorite squads. We've got the Rey team, Jedi Training Rey. I know a lot of people have traditionally used like basically this whole team, maybe not the droids, to go on a Rey team, but now that we're going to be doing like the squad dispersion thing, where before it was how many good characters can we just smash on the team? Like every team's a Titan team. Like we're putting Rey, Jedi Training Rey with Rey, along with the Hero Bros and stuff. Like now, and I never really like to do that anyways, even though that's a more effective team probably, because you're just throwing this other really strong team in the dumpster. And this used to be like you couldn't be efficient because all you had was Illuminated Destiny, but uh, the squad can the squad can get 60s all day.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many sources of healing over here. I mean, whenever Hero Finn does that special, it covers both health and protection if droids are in there. And here you've got two droids in here, so that's double health and protection recovery. The other thing about the heroes is, they've been used under GL Ray for the longest time, and their utility somewhat gets overshadowed with being under Ray, just because they're such great characters by themselves, and you typically tend to overkill against Ray, either with another GL or with a anti-Ray squad like Vader or something like that. And these guys go down easy when you overkill with something like that. But they really shine in a team like this, where you can't really afford to overkill. And if you're taking them on offense, for example, they do such a great job of just chewing through the enemy.
Oh man, yeah, they're really cool, and I've said that for a while. Of in a lot of ways, the Resistance heroes like they do go really well with Rey, and they were kind of in a way I think their kits were made to complement her and do well. But in a lot of ways, they're just like two extra bodies on a Rey team. Like
Yeah,
she's just whirlwinding, she's
exactly.
doing her AOE, and they're just kind of hanging out, and
Yeah,
they kind of move the needle a little bit closer, for her.
yeah.
But it's hard to notice as she's just destroying people.
She's the main star of the show, doing whirlwinds, ultimates, all of that stuff. But over here, these guys get to shine a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I like Finn. He's got the Grenade of Healing. This team is also really fast because if you have a decently fast BB-8, like you're gaining an enormous amount of turn meter to start the fight. And BB-8 is going to go first. He's going to give everyone else turn meter. It's got all the control. One thing that I'll note, so you can see I have like 31 relic levels on this squad because I've used them to unlock Rey and Jedi Master Luke and all of that. But on my alt at 5 million GP, this whole squad is gear 9, except for R2D2, who's inexplicably relic 0. But otherwise, everyone's gear 9, and they still do so much work. This team has so much good control. You don't need them at high gear. They're just a utility squad.
Yeah, yeah.
So, anyways, that's a squad that I like quite a bit. Now, no, we're done with you, Finn. We don't need you. You're done. So, all right. I was excited when you suggested this one because I do love bounty hunters quite a bit. Actually, if you saw my last season, I used them probably every single match. And
Yeah.
yeah, when I saw you at Aura Lead, I was like, yes, he knows. Endall knows.
Yes, this and my aura is still G9 or G10, but I still use this squad all the time to take out some really tough, tricky timeout squads or just in general tricky squads in 5v5. And what one of the first things I did while preparing and modding for 5v5 is I went and demodded some of my fast characters from 3v3 and put some really good speed mods on Grief and Bosk. Having two really fast Grief and Bosk in this team can really get this team jump started and get your contract almost before the enemy has got a chance to take a turn or two.
Oh yeah,
And then, yeah, and then Mando just disintegrates the biggest threat, and then you're rolling.
yeah. I think the thing that surprised me the most when I started using this team a lot is just how much turn meter manipulation you have. Like you go from having Bosk lead, and honestly,
Yeah,
guys, like Bosk is actually also a very efficient.
yeah,
If you need just like a slugfest leader, if you can't outspeed him and stuff, Bosk is great. You'll get a 60 with him a lot of times too, but. Uh, with Aura, you're gaining so much turn meter from Grief, you're gaining it from Aura, you're gaining it from Mandalorian. Uh,
yeah.
the team they get moving. It's pretty fantastic.
It's almost like a mini trooper squad because just like the troopers who gain back protection and turn meter on the death of an enemy, these guys also do that. They gain back protection and turn meter every time an enemy dies. So once you get rolling, it's very easy to end with full health and full protection.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, so I mean, I did the same thing. I had a Gear 10 Aura for a while, and every once in a while she just randomly die. It's like, oh, they took a turn
Yeah.
and she's dead. Like that was just an inevitable thing. But
Yeah.
you know, one thing that I thought was cool that you had Cad Bane in here as the fifth. I like Boba just because you can, if you're countering, like Geos is a great team to be able to counter with this team, or with this team. But Boba is great to be able to put ability block on Spy so that you're not getting one shot
Yeah.
by that Spy. Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, as a fifth, you can take any bounty hunter that you have developed. Cad Bane, Boba. Cad Bane I just put in because of the Kenobi requirements. But you could even go with Django if you want more damage and you haven't relicked up. Or you could even go with a non-bounty hunter
yeah,
option. Two other good options. You could go with a Quill. A really fast Quill on this team can actually take out even a Darth Revan squad because he goes fast, gives everyone turn meter, and then you can take control of the battle. Or you could even go with Moff Gideon. A really fast Moff Gideon can reduce the enemy's turn meter and then allow the rest of your four bounty hunters to get the contract. It's a little tougher to get a contract with four people instead of five bounty hunters, but what Quill and Moff Gideon give you is that much more control of the battle.
yeah, and that's absolutely true. Actually, I mean, so I use this team. Actually, people have been slowing down their Darth Revan teams because they don't want people to use Vader to counter them, which is reasonable. But once they slow them down enough, like my Bosk and Grief, so you want them
Yeah,
one speed apart. You want Bosk to be one speed faster, so he can taunt. Then Grief does a special. Then Bosk gets another turn from Frenzy, and then it's just game on because then you do another mass assist. But I have Bosk at what, like 324, something like that. He can be a little faster, even as you can see from my mods here. Yeah, 324. Grief is 323, and if their Darth Revan is 322 or slower, then you can roll Darth Revan up with just this squad.
yeah, yeah.
That being said, if you're absolutely right. You can use Kuil to make the team a really fast Kuil to make the team fast enough to take out a Darth Revan. And if you have a fast enough, you have to have a really fast Aura, really fast everyone, really. But if you can beat a Rex team or a General Skywalker team speed, uh, you can actually use Moff Gideon to beat General Skywalker. You just get the disintegrate on General Skywalker.
Yep, yep.
Like,
That's true.
yeah, it's it's a fantastic team. It's really fun. Lots of
Yeah.
cool stuff. Django
And if
lead.
you're taking it against Darth Revan, then it perfectly makes sense to have Boba in there because especially with all the stacks of ferocity, Boba once the contract is got, he gets a bonus turn. he's able to one shot one character just out of the gate, just like that. So Boba is a great character to have if you're taking against Darth Revan.
Yep, you shoot. Yeah, you can just snipe out the Darth Revan, and then he
Yeah,
can take out whoever, someone else
yeah,
awesome. All right,
yeah.
so enough gushing about that. We've got the speed version of Mon Mothma, and in 3v3, Mothma really likes K2 and Cassian. It's just a slow, plodding squad that will kill you by 1.5 million paper cuts. It's not even just 1 million, because 1 million is that your opponent's still alive after 1 million. But in this one, I guess it's about the same thing. It's 1 billion paper cuts, but you get into some pretty nasty turn meter loop here.
Yeah, yeah, and all of these guys have got turn meter manipulation, which is great. Cara Dune, obviously on a special, she reduces the enemy's turn meter. Biston gets frenzy, and he also reduces turn meter with his third special. Pow gets tons of turn meter every time these rebels move, and Hoth Rebel Scout gives out turn meter on his basic. So this is the TM version and my favorite version of this squad. You basically don't let the enemy take a turn because that's what when you're talking about efficiency teams, there are, I think, two or three kinds that you have to think about. One is you have so much control that you don't let the enemy take a turn. Two, you basically have tons of protection recovery, and three, you have tons of bonus protection that you don't lose at all. So, and this is the control version of the efficiency squad where you don't let the enemy take a turn.
Yeah, this squad actually is also happens to be the one that I'll be making a video later this week about. This team is the one that counters General Grievous pretty consistently. Need to check against a couple different comps, like if Droideca's there or whatever. But the standard, I mean, I did it all a lot last season. Last season was or last 5v5. It was a quest to find the right Mothma team, but eventually this is the one that people consistently won with against the GG Newt variant at least. So, yeah, this team can
Yeah,
punch way up. I don't like him on defense. On defense, people there's too many options. People just
yeah.
can and should one shot it for 60 usually.
Yeah, yeah. I think Mon Mothma, I think you should keep an offense in 5v5 at least. The only requirement for this team is a fast Kara Dune, because once, like my Kara is I think 315 or so. Once you get rolling, then the others will make sure that the turn meter keeps going.
Oh yeah.
And don't take this against Nest or Kylo SLKR, no, not SLKR, but the OG Kylo things or Zalbar people who stack defense or stack bonus protection. But apart from that, this team can do a really decent job.
Yeah, it really can. It also kills if it cleans up Supreme Leader Kylo. Actually, you put Baze on
Mm,
here instead
yeah,
of I don't know Biston, one of them. It doesn't really
yeah,
matter which. And this team will clean up lone Supreme Leader Kylo as well. He just never
yeah.
doesn't get a turn. He'll hit Biston or he'll hit Baze once, and then you go to town. So, next up, we've got Bad Batch, and that's a team that not a lot of people have a lot of familiarity with. If any of you guys have seen my most recent week's worth of GACs, you know that Bad Batch kind of got me into trouble this last week, and they also managed to do some really cool stuff as well. 5v5 is a different animal. I have them relicked. I know a lot of people don't because they are not free to play at this point, but they're a lot of fun. What's your experience with them so far, Endall?
Oh, they've been great. These are guys who punch way above their weight. So even if you don't have them relict, mine are all G11, but they've done a really good job for me in 3v3. And even in the 5v5 before this, where all of them were like G10, G11, these guys, I've made my echo really fast. Even at G11, mine is like 310 or something like that. Once you get once you get that first turn, echo, and then followed up with tech with the giving stun to everyone, this team is a complete control team. There's days, there's healing immunity, there's stuns, and with the expose and the true damage getting done with this team, it's you don't have to worry about timing out and all that. This is one of those teams which takes control of the battle early and keeps control throughout, which is why it's such a great team on offense. On defense, in 5v5, definitely don't put them there. There are tons of teams which can cheaply take this out. But on offense, I think these guys have got really good control. And just the four of them have got such amazing synergy that you don't really even need a fifth. If you've got relics on them, you can actually take out any Grievous squad for like 61 banners. But If you really want a fifth, there are so many options to choose from. You can go with Cody, you can go with Sarge, or you can go with a non clone option like again Gideon or Thrawn or something like that. So tons of options out here.
Yeah, they're really cool. I've been a little bit lazy learning all their kits and stuff because I keep thinking we're going to get a fifth member and then it's going to change the dynamics. But the truth is, they're still going to be do the same thing. They'll just be enhanced by whoever they get. And honestly, Cody does fine with them. He calls them to
Yeah, he's
assist,
great.
and
He calls assists and he has a stun. It's he's pretty good.
yeah, he doesn't suck.
Yeah.
So next up, the Troopers team, Imperial Troopers. This is a must-have team, in my opinion. This team is it went from like a pretty good utility team that sometimes could take certain squads down that were pretty prevalent. Like it used to be everyone placed their Night Sisters on defense. That was just what you did. It was like the social contract back then, and like you the goal with that was going to be to like draw out like their Padme team or something like that. Like the Padme team would have to punch down to kill that team. Except if you had troopers, you could just bypass that whole interaction and get a quick 60. Now you can kill a lot more than trooper or you can kill troopers with this too, I guess. But you can kill a lot more than Night Sisters.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these guys are going to be my go-to team on offense to take out Darth Revan, which is why I've got tremendous amount of speed on Piet. Funny thing, my troopers were G9, G10 for the longest time, and then Dark Trooper came out. I immediately spent crystals to farm him up and get him relict, and then after that, immediately put some G12, G13 material on Piet and Veers to just to get that team up there in speed. And now that team is one of my go-to teams on offense. So Dark Trooper completely changed the this particular team and the kind of teams that it can counter on offense. In the last 5v5 season, I've used it to counter Darth Revan. I've used it to counter really fast JTR squads. Anything that you can outspeed, you can kill with the squad.
Yeah, I mean, so Gideon also fits on here. You don't need him unless you need the extra speed, but this team is just crazy. It feels like cheating. Like Darth
Yeah,
Trooper just
yeah,
smashes people. It's crazy. It's like, hey, that character's full health. Like I'm gonna need a couple rounds to do it, and Dark Trooper's like, no, let's just finish this now,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and then he does, and you're like, wow,
Yeah,
you're like,
and you're
wow,
right about Gideon. I mean, Gideon is
speechless.
great on this team, but he's such a great plug and play character in 5v5 that you can just place him elsewhere. And Range does a really good job over here. And since we're talking about efficiency teams, that protection recovery of Range and the ability to give retribution to everyone, that's really great. Well, the retribution doesn't matter because ideally with this team, you're not
Yeah.
allowing the enemy to gain a turn.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, range though. So one thing you guys got to be careful about. So if you're taking a Darth Revan team,
Yeah,
or if you're trying to take out a Darth Revan team, and you're going with range, you almost always just want to hit that buff button because it gives everyone turn meter. It makes other people attack. Like it's good. It's something that it's a desirable effect. But against a Darth Revan team with HK, and that we don't see that all the time, but if it has HK has just this random FU ability that he's just like, you know what, troopers, this was intended for fighting against like a Jedi team, a Jedi Revan team or Basti team with bonus protection, but FU as well, troopers, you're included in this
yeah,
family, and because he gives that bonus protection. You don't even need it, but because of that, this whole team requires it lives off of turn meter manipulation,
yeah,
and
yeah. And
HK
on
shuts
that,
that down.
yeah, and on that similar note, even Moff Gideon, you don't want to, if you're taking Moff Gideon against a DR squad with HK, he gives bonus protection on his third ability as well, which to support characters, and most of these troopers are support. So if you're using Moff Gideon or range, be careful about using that bonus protection ability against Darth Revan squads.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you have to be double careful with Gideon. The only reason you take Gideon against a Darth
Yeah.
Revan team is if you need that extra speed. You have to just use a
Yes.
basic though, or I guess you could use the dark saber if you wanted, but you can't do the other ones because if you reduce everyone's turn meter, it doesn't actually reduce the Darth Revan team, and then your whole troopers team's like,
Yeah.
I guess we'll die now.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
I've seen people do it, and I lolled. I won't lie. I guess if they could hear me, I probably lolled inside. But all right, we've got Bando team. Everyone has said how awful Bando is, even though, man, that's such a cool thing. Like the CG gave him to us in the journey guide immediately upon release, and people have just. I feel like he's one of the most underrated characters. I'm not saying he's transcendent, but he keeps impressing me. If you can't expect too much, but I mean, I think he's pretty cool.
He is. I think he's up there in my go-to squads for both 3v3 and 5v5. I always keep him on offense in 3v3, but in 5v5, either offense or defense, he does great. On defense, with Nest and a tricky fifth squad character in there, you can trip up quite a few people, and I've done that in my past three 5v5 seasons as well. And on offense, since we're talking efficiency, these guys almost always end up with 58, 59, 60 banners. I've got really good banners against really tough squads like General Grievous or CLS. Those are examples of two really tough teams that this particular squad can take out. But even other tricky squads like Newt or Dooku Separatist squads, or First Order squads with Kylo Ren in there. Those squads are also, it's very easy to get full banners with the BAM team, as we've seen in 3v3 as well.
Doesn't it kind of look like Wheels on fire here? Just like his shoulders on fire.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah, he's got
smoking hot.
the little welder thing. Like here, it was kind of camouflaged. I was like, what's going on with his shoulder? And anyway, sorry for the. So yeah, this squad is fantastic. You have to kind of clock it the right way. It can actually take down a lot of different Jedi Master Luke builds. The like you said, CLS and General Grievous, and it kills a lot of other things as well. And if you want it on defense, it's also a pretty good defensive team. Like you could put Bo-Katan here as well, and Bo-Katan fits in seamlessly just because she's also a scoundrel, so she has that synergy, and she has the dispel that doesn't miss, and she does daze that also doesn't miss. So I guess you can resist
Mm.
that, but like. Bo-Katan's pretty good. People like to take Padme against this squad, and Bo-Katan she kind of gives the finger to the Padme squad because they're like, "Hey, I have protection up," and Bo-Katan's like, "Nope, actually not." Actually, that's what happened. I'm sure you watched it, the Solo versus Gom match, good old Maurice,
Mm.
and
Yeah,
he brought Padme in there, and Bo-Katan just kept saying, "Nope, no bonus protection for you." It's pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. As a fifth, if you're keeping this on defense, I would go with another taunting tank or even Vandor. Vandor actually is a really great option because he reduces enemy damage, gives protection back, extra protection back, and just an extra source of revive out here. Apart from Quill reviving on his buff, so it's just such a tough team to chew through. There's revives, there's damage immunity, there's protection recovery. It's a great control team to have on offense.
Yeah, I do like it on offense too. This team is so versatile. Like the core of Beskar, IG, and Queel. They can go with Ray.
Yeah.
They can. I'm very content with them. I
Yeah,
can't. I feel
yeah,
like
and
yeah, they're
yeah, and I feel that
maligned for no
Nest,
reason.
I feel that Nest has really found a really good home in 5v5 with BAM. I mean, previously Nest used to go with Kira squads or solo, or just fit in with other squads like Night Sisters or Separatists and all that. But I feel that Nest has got a perfect home now that BAM is here. So I would say instead of three, I would say four of these guys are really core to this team. Because Nest is what brings the damage, the secondary source of damage apart from Beskar. And with all the counters and all, any team which any character, any scoundrel with just counters is great for just generating whistling birds out here, and for getting IG-11 to get that assist and to take out a couple of characters. So Nest fits in so perfectly in this team.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess on that vein, I mean, like veteran Han would probably work okay here too, as well
Oh yeah,
if you wanted that. But yeah,
yeah.
that is one of my goals this coming season is to have the Bando team all suited up to be able to take down some of these tougher teams. I'm super excited. It is a little bit tougher to gear them to take down the really good teams, but
Yeah.
that's the goal at least.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, the turn order is important. You have to have Quill the fastest, and then next fastest Bam, and then the other characters with AoEs and all go so that they, generate the whistling birds.
Yes, yep. You have to have specific turn order, and that can be frustrating. But all right, we've got. I think we've got two left. We've got a crew team. This is what we decided to call the idealized crew team, because this you have to acknowledge. Like if you have Supreme Leader Kylo, he's kind of just left out in the cold. If you take this comp, this team is really strong, but it really leaves Kylo. He's just like, I guess I'll solo something on offense because like he doesn't have much to do. I guess you could like put Darth Revan with him or something like that, but this team's got so much going on. I do really super enjoy just looking at it. Actually, just
Yeah.
imagining the things he can do.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, like we talked about, all great efficiency offensive teams have a couple of things going for them: control and protection recovery. This one with Kylo Ren's lead, every time that these guys gain buffs, they're going to get protection recovery, and there's tremendous amount of control over here. There's a couple of stuns, and Kylo Ren's stun is a two-turn stun, which is really great for controlling them. So imagine this: if you obviously your Hux is going to be the fastest, but if for some reason you're able to get Kylo Ren to be the fastest, you stun one character, and then with Hux, you pass the turn meter back to Kylo Ren, and then you stun another character. So you've got two characters having a two-turn stun right at the beginning of the match. But obviously, that's really not the case most of the time because your Hux is going to be really, really fast. But there are various ways to play this team.
Yeah, I've actually seen that before. I've seen the speed Kylo teams, and that's scary, man. It really is
Yeah.
because they don't mess around. Like he does,
Yeah.
and yeah, that exact interaction, like the double stun right out the gate, and the other team's just just
Yeah.
literally stunned.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I would say, if you're keeping him on defense, then the health or defensive build might be better for Kylo Ren Unmasked. But if you're keeping him on offense and you want to always use him on offense, then I would strongly suggest the speed version of Kylo Ren.
Yeah, I've never done that before. I'm kind of tempted now. That's kind of fun. It's just very difficult. This isn't
Yeah.
a build I'm typically like. I'll put it on defense sometimes, honestly, just to mess with people. But typically, this team is chopped up into other versions. I do, however, really like the crew team. Another replacement, if you want something that's really effective and a lot cheaper than this, you know, Watt he's so plug and play. Like it's hard to say like, oh yeah, just use him. Like we didn't really put him on any teams because it's like, what do you even? Of course
Yeah.
he makes a team efficient. Of course he is. He's
Yeah.
amazing. But if you wanted to do something where you take Hux out, you take Stormtrooper out, throw those guys to Supreme Leader Kylo, then you'd put Watt and like First Order Officer,
Yeah.
and like that's as efficient as it gets too. Like you suddenly you'd kill a ton of teams for 60 banners, and if you get less than 60, you're disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great team. Watt is this is one of those teams where Watt finds a great home.
Yeah, this is one of my very favorite teams with Watt, especially on offense. It's kind of rare that I don't like. Usually, you just have Watt babysitting other Galactic Legends, but if you can get away from that, that's a great use for Watt as well. Okay, I guess we have two more teams, guys. So we have this Emperor Palpatine squad. This is another one that's like, okay, so we're stealing from other teams, right? So Palpatine, by and large, is honestly kind of just like left out of a lot of different teams these days, because like Vader doesn't care. He's just like whatever, dude. Like you get in the way. Like you don't want Palpatine against a race squad necessarily. And Palpatine, he's just kind of left out, and so. Like if you can somehow spare Basti Fallen, this is kind of a throwback to back in the day. When you needed a good Grievous counter that was efficient. This squad will never ever let the enemy take a turn.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know it sucks to take Basti Fallen away from Darth Revan, but if you're not, if you're, if your enemy is going to has good troopers and has a good counter to Darth Revan, I really like this team in 5v5 just because of the amount of control and turn meter generation that this team has. Like you mentioned, Emperor Palpatine, especially with a fast Basti, like 320, 330 plus, you go first and you never allow the enemy to take a turn. Treya goes and isolates. You've got Nihilus, who gets an annihilate really, really fast, and you've got an AOE stun from Pal. And if you remember when or Basti initially came out, this team was actually one of the teams in the arena. It was an arena meta for a long time before it got derailed. So if you have to take something heavy against it. I know it sucks to we're talking offense right now, but yeah, this one is capable of taking out some really heavy hitters. Yeah.
And on defense, it's good too.
And on
Like,
defense, it's yeah. I actually put this team in my list for defensive options just because it's a really tricky squad to take out with a fast Basti in there. But on offense, again, you never let the enemy take a turn.
yeah, this is a really cool team. If you wanted to be able to take out a General Grievous squad, this squad could maybe do it. It'd be messy. It wouldn't be efficient. Take out Scion, add Thrawn instead, and you get a 58 or so. I believe that's about. You're not going to get max banners against a Grievous squad, but I mean, you're also going to have like a guaranteed win against any Grievous squad that doesn't have Watt on it.
Yeah.
It's a mess for for the Grievous team. So finally, we have the team that I'm going to start calling Bo Katan because her leadership lets people taunt, gives them a special ability that lets them taunt. You get the taunt. You put 3 Beskar slabs or ingots on Canderous. Canderous taunts, and then he has 100% counter chance, and he just machine guns all the people. And this is a good place for Django. Like Django goes well every single place, but he kind of gives this team legitimacy.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with expanded rosters where you're trying to build up more legitimate B and C teams. Django is so great everywhere. You can put him at bounty hunters, you can put him at separatists, but we finally have a decent chance to make a Mandalorian squad, and with especially with a Relic 7 Django, this squad can do some pretty heavy damage. And with the armorer and with Bo-Katan in there recovering protection, it's definitely something that you should keep on offense rather than defense, just to ensure that full protection recovery.
Yeah, one of my favorite interactions actually in the game. In fact, at least idealized. It's a cool interaction. Is Sabine when she has her Zeta because her Zeta got buffed a little bit to go with Mando's. So she throws her grenades and it exposes everyone, but it also staggers everyone. And then immediately after, if you can clock it, so the Bo-Katan goes right after Sabine. She has an AoE that can't miss, so everyone gets staggered, and then Bo-Katan hits everyone with their AoE, and everyone's turn meter is reduced to 0 because she can't miss, and it's just a really cool thing. You know, if Sabine can't apply all of those or whatever, like if they have some kind of turn meter manipulation
Yeah.
thing or resistance, then it doesn't always work. But in theory, it's a really devastating 1-2 punch.
It is, yeah. And the other reason why you should always keep this team on offense is because it gives you tons of flexibility. Because what are the kinds of teams that you keep on defense is teams who are whole faction and you can't really break the faction like CLS or Gas. But on offense, you need teams that you want the flexibility to either keep the teams together or to pick and choose the characters to place elsewhere. In this example, you can always take if you keep this team on offense, you can always take the armorer and put them in with a GL if you want to counter another GL. You can take Django and put him in with separatists or bounty hunters if you want. You can take Candrus and put him in with Vader, for example, or Sabine with Rebels, or Bo-Katan with the scoundrel team that we talked about, BAM. So this team, you can either use it as a singular unit, or if you feel that you'd really need one of these characters in one of the other squads, you have the flexibility to do that on offense.
Yeah, it's a really cool team. I'm I'm excited. I really want to start using this team on offense this season. I think this is the ideal time when people are going to be putting some pretty bad teams on defense.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yep.
that being said, Endall, I think we're at the end of our time, my friend. Thank you so much for coming. Is there anything else you would like to say?
No, this is great. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited about this 5v5. And I've mentioned this before in my videos as well, but 3v3 expanded rosters was different. It did stretch us, but not as much as 5v5 expanded rosters is going to stretch us, because the 3 or 4 extra teams that we have to place both on offense and defense, I think is going to make 5v5 a completely different ball game. So looking forward to trying that out, and all the best to everyone in their 5v5 season as well.
Indeed. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Zareth and Endall prevail.